Swaraj India. He's joining us, sharp political mind. Mr. Yadav, what according to you is the big national takeaway from today's election? How would you sum up the results that we've seen so far?
Rahul, the major turnaround of the Congress in Telangana, which could have been a national story, has been overshadowed by a very major setback in the Hindi heartland. And it's a setback not just for Congress party, it's also a setback for all of us who want to see a change in this country, who want to see a political badlav at the national level. I must confess that while I can see why some of these elections became much closer than they needed to, because the real setback is that Congress could have actually won all the three. These are not impossible elections that Congress was destined to lose right in the beginning. That's why it's a setback. I must honestly confess, I do not fully understand the extent of BJP's victory in Madhya Pradesh. They are leading by 8%, closer to what your exit poll had shown. I understand it. You had anticipated it. I don't fully make sense of how a party which had almost lost the last election came back illegitimately and did not do a great job in governing in the last 4 years, against which there was a broad sentiment of badlav. That party has won with 8 percentage points. But whatever, this is a fact and one has to reckon with it. To my mind, the three big lessons, while one could always blame, and the usual tendency, at least in political analysis, unlike cricket analysis, Rajdeep would appreciate, is that in politics, whoever wins, we say that they fielded well, they bowled well, and they batted well, which normally doesn't happen. To my mind, in the case of Rajasthan, there was no anti-incumbency against the chief minister nor against the government. There was intense anti-incumbency against MLAs, which the Congress did not acknowledge and ended up rewarding them the tickets back. Also in Rajasthan, the second major factor was that Congress could have struck two simple alliances, one with CPM, the other with BAP. And to my mind, these two have cost Congress at least 15 to 20 seats so far. So it could have been a much closer election. In Madhya Pradesh, I think Congress fought organizationally a better election than they did last time. But they did not have an overall narrative, and they did not have a social strategy. In Chhattisgarh, the story is different. Again, a government against which there was no broad anti-incumbency, but which failed to translate that into a political narrative. So that is what seems to have happened. But it's a very major setback. Yeah.
Can I therefore summarize, you're giving us what you believe has happened in these three Hindi heartland states. What if I said in a single line that basically the Hindi heartland is Modified? You can call it BJP-fied, Modified, but that we are seeing consistently Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand, now Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh, across the Hindi heartland, the BJP is virtually becoming a dominant party in several parts. How do you combat a dominant party? Is that in a sense showing the weakness of the Congress or the strength of the BJP?
But may I add to it, Mr. Yadav? May I just add to that question?
Yes,
may I add to that question, Rajdeep? The sheer fact that the Congress now sees, especially in the Hindi heartland, the OBC card, caste census as a game changer going into 2024. Mr. Yadav, you've been also one of the biggest proponents of that. None of that seems to be catching on ground, at least where the Hindi heartland is concerned.
I would not call it modified, but because, you have to include what happened in Himachal Pradesh, you have to think of what happens in Bihar and so on and so forth. But the fact is that BJP is very strong in this North Indian Hindi leading up to the West India bet. In that, what should Congress do? On the OBC card, it is true that Rahul Gandhi spoke about caste census very clearly. But was this actually an election issue on the ground at all? Did the Congress candidates speak about it? Did the Congress workers even know about it? Did the Congress take this message to the OBC and SC at all? At least I did not see that on the ground.
The Congress doesn't with due regard, Mr. Yadav, the Congress doesn't seem to have a strong, viable OBC leadership. You see, the questions, we've been raising this about Bharat Jodo Yatra. You were part of that Yatra. The Congress is taking credit in South India, saying the Bharat Jodo Yatra galvanized us. But look at North India. It also went through Madhya Pradesh. It also went through Rajasthan. And it has zero impact. So you start wondering whether Rahul Gandhi is, and even in Telangana, there will be those who will say this is just an anti-incumbency vote, nothing to do with this Bharat Jodo Yatra. So questions again over Rahul Gandhi's leadership?
Rajdeep, anti-incumbency is something which is invoked as and when a ruling party loses. The question is, why did anti-incumbency not happen 5 years ago? Why has it not affected BJP and so on? So and about the OBC leadership, let's not forget that Congress's CM in Rajasthan and in Chhattisgarh were OBCs. To my mind, the three broad lessons that I see for Congress are the following. Number one, Congress's overall national posture of its leadership is not aligned to its actual ground level political campaign. Number two, Congress's own vote base, which is the bottom of the pyramid, namely the poor, SC, ST, OBC, that is not aligned with Congress's own leadership and Congress's own policies. And number three, Congress needs to be, the third lesson is that Congress could be more harsh on dealing with people within and more liberal in dealing with people outside. This is what we saw in Rajasthan. These are three broad lessons at the national level, but indeed it is a setback. And unless some of these lessons are learned by Congress and by the opposition in general, it is much tougher than it looked this morning, the 2024
Looked at from a BJP perspective, Yogendra Yadav, would you accept that this makes the path to victory in 2024 that much easier for the BJP and for Prime Minister Modi on the back of this kind of success in the Hindi heartland? It now becomes very difficult to dislodge the BJP and prevent Prime Minister Modi from winning a third term.
If you did simple numeric calculations, you would not say that, because the fact is that BJP had swept all these states. Telangana was one state where BJP had 4 seats and was hoping to improve. So while today's verdict dashes BJP's hopes of increasing the numbers, the fact remains that Congress needed to do something to BJP's complete dominance over this region. And today's results do not affirm that hope. And therefore, the opposition really needs to think hard about its strategy.
So you're not accepting it's a done deal? You're not accepting 2024 is as close to being a done deal? Because remember 2018, the Congress won all these 3 states and yet lost. Now they've lost all these 3 states. Does it make it even more difficult for the opposition?
Difficult, yes. Done deal, no. The reason I say no is that in the South India, in a sense, it's curtains for BJP in South India as far as 2024 is concerned. In Karnataka, BJP has 25 seats. No one, not even BJP spokespersons, I hope, on this channel would say that they are going to get 25 in Karnataka. In Telangana, BJP had 4. They were hoping to increase. This was the only state where BJP could have gone up. They are not doing so.
Okay.
So that larger challenge still remains. But yes, if you ask me, has it got tougher? Of course, it has got tougher today. And the opposition really needs to think fresh.
We'll leave it there. We'll hope to have you back in the evening. For the time being, Yogendra Yadav, thank you very much for joining us.